صلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. Sheikh Saleh ibn Fawzan al-Fawzan, Hafidhahullah, he said the first kind of conciliation, of acknowledgement, is a conciliation to return the very type of the object of disagreement is in cases when one, for example, acknowledges owing another person a debt or acknowledges owing him a sum of money which is in one's possession. Both parties then agree to conciliate when the indebted party pays part of the debt and the creditor on his side relinquishes the rest thereof. Also, this kind of reconciliation may happen when the creditor cedes to the debtor an amount of the owed object and takes the rest thereof. This type of reconciliation is valid unless the acknowledgement is stipulated. For example, the debtor may say that he acknowledges owing money to the creditor provided that the latter gives him so and so, or compensates him with so and so. Or the creditor may release the debtor from the debt stipulating that the debtor gives him a certain thing. Arranging conciliation in this manner is invalid, for the creditor has the right to ask for all his rights, all that which the debtor owes him, for rendering this type of conciliation valid. The debtor is not to refuse to give the creditor what he owes him in case there is no conciliation. So basically, the Sheikh he's saying if there was a conciliation, like for example, he said to him, you know what, give me what you can now, and then you can give me the rest later, or I will forfeit the rest. So you don't have to give me back anything, just give me what you have now, and then you can go free. This is out of kindness. But if that, agreement is not reached, then he has to give him everything back. He has to give him everything back. طيب. For this would be an act of consuming people's wealth unjustly, which is forbidden by Allah. So you cannot refuse to give him back his debt, because that you'll be consuming haram. And also the debtor is to pay what he owes unconditionally, whether there is conciliation or not. In addition, for validating this type of conciliation, the creditor must be of those whose donation is valid. If not, this conciliation would be then invalid. An example for this is the donation given by a guardian of an orphan or an insane person, since the guardian would be donating something that doesn't belong to him. Because the guardian, the money doesn't belong to him, it belongs to the orphan, right? Or belongs to someone who is insane. So it's not permissible for him to give what he doesn't have. In a few words, it is permissible to arrange conciliation between two disputing parties to return the established object of conciliation by parts of the same type, provided that the debtor does not refuse to give back his debt in case there is no conciliation. Besides, the creditor must be of those whose donation is valid. It is permissible as well as to effect conciliation in case the aforementioned requirement are fulfilled, since this would be a donation and one is not to be prevented from relinquishing part of what he lends or from having it back in full. This is because the Prophet ﷺ asked the creditor of Jabir ibn Abdullah to make some reduction in his debt. So it is permissible to ask the person to reduce the debt, as it is in the hadith of Prophet ﷺ. The Shaykh said the second kind of conciliation of acknowledgement is conciliation to substitute an object of a different type for the object of the disagreement. This happens in cases when someone acknowledges that he owes another person a debt or an object, and both agree that the creditor is to take an object as compensation for a different one. Thus, if conciliation is to be arranged to return money for money, then this will be considered an exchange whose ruling are to be applied in this transaction. If conciliation is to be arranged to give back an object in return for money, this will be considered selling whose rulings are to be applied in this transaction. Moreover, if conciliation is agreed upon for establishing the debtor, for establishing a benefit, as in case when the creditor hires a place belonging to the debtor, it will be a kind of renting whose ruling are to be applied. If conciliation is arranged to give back money in return for the disputed object, it will be considered selling. طيب. The third one, the Shaykh said, conciliation of denial. It refers to a person claiming that another person owes him an object or debt. Upon that claim, the person does not deny the claim, but is ignorant of the claimed object. The respondent then asks the claimer to relinquish his claim and to arrange conciliation in which the claimer will obtain a sum of money, whether paid on the spot or deferred. Conciliation in this case is valid according to the majority of the people of knowledge. For the Prophet ﷺ said, conciliation is permissible among Muslims, except the conciliation that makes what is lawful prohibited and makes what is prohibited lawful. Related by Abu Dawood and the Tirmidhi, and the latter said, this is Hasan, good, Sahih, authentic hadith. And Al-Hakim regard this hadith as Sahih. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu sent this hadith in a letter as a proof of effecting conciliation to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Thus, this hadith can be safely applied as a proof in this regard because of the aforementioned considerations. The Shaykh said the benefit of this type of conciliation which the respondent gains is avoiding the legal proceedings and taking an oath before a judge. As for the claimer, it spares him the trouble of establishing evidence and helps him obtain what he claims to be his as soon as possible. In conciliation of denial, the claimer is regarded as selling the claimed object since he believes that what he takes is compensation for his money. So the claimed object, thereby he ought to abide by what he believes. It is as if the respondent had bought the claimed object from the claimer. Thus the ruling on selling apply to this transaction. Basically, it's like sales. Among these rulings is the right to return the sold item for being faulty and the right of preemption, if the right of preemption can be applied therein. As for the respondent, he is considered, after effecting conciliation with the claimer, acquitted from the claim. He has paid money for the claimed object to avoid taking an oath. Remove harm that may afflict him, and the dispute and protect himself against being indulged in disputes. Besides, honorable people reject being involved in such matters and would rather pay money to avoid such claims. If the claimer, who becomes a buyer in this case, finds a defect in the object given to him in compensation for the disputed one, he doesn't have the right to return it, and it can be taken by preemption from the respondents, as it does not consider it a real compensation for anything. Conciliation of denial becomes invalid in case either party lies to the other. The claimer may lie, claiming his right to an object which he knows well that it doesn't belong to him. Likewise, the respondent may deny whatever claim is advanced by the claimer, though he knows that he is lying and he owes the claimer such a thing. Conciliation thus becomes null for the one who lies, concealing the truth, since he knows the truth and he is able to give the right to its owner and does not believe that he is in the right. Thus, whatever he takes or obtains in this case by means of conciliation is prohibited, for he takes it unjustly and wrongfully, and not in compensation of something he deserves. Allah exalted be He says in this verse, and do not consume one another's wealth unjustly. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 188.
That's a question.
Now,
So don't want to go too far. So I was wondering about the translation part where a person can making separate payment for the things they own.
right.
That, like, it sounds like it's only can be done if that person who owns other money has to be given to the person something that already worth that much money.
Yeah, like like he gives him an item.
So let's say the person A owns person B $1,000, and person A can't pay it off.
Right.
Yeah, like person A has something worth $1,000.
Right.
And it has to kind of let that person B to hold that item.
Yeah.
Until he pay it off.
Yes.
So what if he doesn't have anything that worth that much money? So that transaction shouldn't be done or something.
I mean, if he cannot pay him back, then the creditor can take that, can take that object.
What if like he doesn't have anything? Like he only, let's say he need to use that $1,000 thing to buy from him to make the money and then pay him back. Let's say you need to buy from this person a $1,000 worth date, and he gonna sell this $1,000 date to someone else, so earn like $2,000.
Right.
And then he can pay that $1,000 to the person A.
Right.
Like, but until then he doesn't have nothing.
He doesn't have anything.
Yeah. So is that transaction is permissible to do for person, I guess B, to actually make that transaction until, like, to buy that person, buy the $1,000 worth of date from person A before he even had the money, but he knows he's gonna be able to make that money by selling that.
I didn't.
No, so what Brother Adam is explaining, what he's saying is basically, somebody's going to sell something. You covered this in the class before. I think it would be impermissible.
Yeah.
You can't sell something
Which you don't have.
That you don't have. So
Yeah,
even if
of
the
course.
person intends on, I'm going to get $5,000 worth of merchandise to sell from you,
Right.
and I'm going to pay you back $7,000, but it's not. I don't have the money.
If
to
you
pay
don't,
you.
yes,
So it would be haram.
it'll be haram. Except in one case, it's called a salam. Yeah, a salam. So a salam is like, for example, you are a manufacturer, right? And I pay you the whole amount, right? I pay you the whole amount. For example, I want to buy from you, like, for example, let's say bricks, right? I want to build a house, so I need some bricks. So I bought these bricks from you. I gave you the money, the full money, but I gave you the description of these bricks. I want the weight, the measurement, the type, everything, like the material that's in it and every detail. This is permissible. This is permissible.
Like the manufacturer, meaning like the person.
They're gonna make it.
They're gonna make it.
They're gonna make it. So
Yeah.
They're paying for a service, and the person's gonna provide exactly what they want.
Like, for example, if you can get it ready for me within like 1 month, for example, I can pay you full, right? It's not permissible to pay half. You have to pay the whole thing, and then you have the description, the details about the product. This is permissible. This is in this case. This is permissible. It applies in every situation. You want to buy like from a farmer, something like that, right? But something that doesn't go bad. It goes bad, you cannot, because that thing, you cannot really control it. It can go bad, and then you lose the transaction and things like that. But something that doesn't go bad, like dry food, like raisin, like dates, like stuff like that. Yeah, I want this type of dates, like ajwa dates. I want tons, and all this quality, A or B or whatever. And then he pays you the whole amount, even though you don't have it yet. But because you will have it ready for him, so he already paid you. In this case, it's fine. Yeah, in this case, it's fine. طيب. The Shaykh, he said, another ruling is that the conciliation is valid when being arranged to end an disagreement over an unknown object, whether both parties owe one another or one of them owes the other. Conciliation is applicable if it is difficult to know this object, such as the cases of unsettled account from a long time ago, because you can't know exactly the whole details. It happens a lot. And neither of the parties knows what he owes the other. Two men disputed over their heritage, which was a long time ago. The Prophet ﷺ said to both of them, draw lots, seek the truth, and then let every one of you absolve his companion from any right on his side. So do the best you can. Do the best you can, basically. In this case, this is related by Abu Dawood and other compilers of hadith. In this case, since one of the two parties absolved the other, means he let him go, right? The other from his right, on his liability, conciliation becomes valid. Right? In spite of the fact that the dispute is over unknown object, it is valid here for necessity, because there is a dire necessity. In order to avoid wasting money or being burdened by rights of others, the prophetic order in the above mentioned hadith of absolving one another from any liability signifies that one should be concerned with being absolved from people's rights in order to free one's liability. It also signifies how great and inviolable the rights of people are. Another ruling on conciliation is that it is valid in cases of legal retribution. Legal retribution is like if someone kills someone, he has to be killed. Or he steals and his hand has to be cut. This is called qisas. Through the payment of diya. The payment of diya is like when someone is killed, then the killer pays the blood money to the family. He pays the blood. The blood money is about 100 camel. The value of 100 camel, that's diya. That's the blood money that he gives to the family. طيب. As a substitute, according to the amount of a diya stated in the Sharia, Islamic law, or less or more dependent on the agreement of both parties, since the object of the dispute is not property. It's not a property that can be compensated for, as it is a human soul. Someone killed someone, right? So there can't be compensation based on human estimation in this case. Can't do that. There's no estimation here. Rather, the blood money is to be paid according to the Sharia. It is not valid to conciliate something related to the prescribed punishment. Punishment enshrined in the Quran and the Sunnah. Since Allah exalted be He has prescribed this punishment for deterrence, so the people stay away from doing it. Beside this punishment are the rights of Allah, exalted be He. And among the rights of the community thereby, conciliation, something related to these punishment render them invalid, denies the community of their benefits, and opens the way for those intending corruption. That's it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all al-ilm al-nafi' wal-amal al-salih. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. You had a question?
Yes.
Yeah, tafadhal.
Assalamu
Alaikum salam.
If someone was to pay blood money, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't have all of the money that they were supposed to pay at one time, could they pay what they have now and then split the portion?
Yeah. They can, yes. Yeah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all al-ilm al-nafi' al-amal al-salih. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi wa sallam.